Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have the pleasure of welcoming a friend of mine 3 times, I think it is now, back to the channel, Mr. Jamie York. Jamie, thanks so much for joining me again on my channel, mate.
No stress at all, mate. It's good to be here. I think I've never been on somebody's channel 3 times before. Twice is the record. So there you go. I look forward to being back to number 4 and 5 after this.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I want to just give the viewers a sort of an overview of what we're going to talk about, as you probably would have seen in the title anyway, is we are talking everything YouTube, because everyone knows, obviously, Jamie, that you're in the property space. However, there's another area that you've done very well in, and I was just saying off camera, whether it's the circles that I'm in or whether it's just the people I'm connected with, but YouTube at the moment seems to be, I want to start a YouTube channel, I want it as an outlet, it's got to be my touch point, how do I get started? And I mean, you scaled rapidly, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're really going to learn from Jamie in terms of everything that he done from day one to where you are now. So, Jamie, give us an overview of how quickly your YouTube grew, just as a starting point.
Okay, so we started in end of July 2020. So a year and a half ago at the point of filming this. And then the target was to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of that year. We got to about 10,000 subscribers the end of that year. Then the 2021, by the end of 2021, we maybe got to, it's a bit of guesswork here, but about 47,000. And then what are we, 24th of March today? I think we're about to hit the 60,000 mark today or tomorrow. So yeah, pretty fast in the grand scheme of things, I guess, but slower than other channels. I don't know. It's pretty good. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say you grew rapidly. I literally remember watching you from a few hundred subscribers, and then, I don't know, I must have gone out for a walk and I come back and you just had, you had 1,000. I thought, okay, what on earth is going on here? And this is when I just kind of started really, but my YouTube journey, and finally monetized after about 15 months. So, you know, finally got there. So, look, for anyone watching this, it's going to be all YouTube. Go check out Jamie's channel. He's done extremely well. Obviously, you're niched in the property area, offering amazing value, but just starting from the beginning, because everyone just picks up the phone, buys the plug-in mic, attach it there, and they get going. But what have you learned, or what would you do if you were starting from the beginning? What are the key things for anyone starting a YouTube channel day one?
Oh. Okay, I'll try and take myself back to what I did, because I don't actually think I did too much different. There's some bits I would, which I'll go through. So first of all, I'd get on YouTube, and I spent about a week genuinely my entire week on YouTube, because believe it or not, I'd never really been on YouTube. It was a pure stance of building awareness of who I am, which I'm sure we'll go through the strategy a bit later. But the reason why is because I needed to understand how I use the platform. So for example, if you've got my Instagram, I'm not the best at this, but I will try to do a story every couple of hours. Why? Because after being on Instagram for like a week, I realized I was more interested in going on people's stories rather than scrolling through the feed. So I'm doing that. And then at the moment I'm trying TikTok, and honestly, I don't like it at all, but that's a conversation for another time. So I went on YouTube and I started realizing what I was engaging in the most. Where was I clicking? Why did I click? And I went through with a consumer behavior mindset. So I was deliberately going on thinking, why am I about to click on this? And I just made notes. And I realized that there were massive commonalities in the types of ones I was clicking on, the ones I wasn't clicking on, who I related to, who I didn't relate to. And then that allowed me to have an overall impact on understanding that the single most important thing is the thumbnail, 100%. For those that don't know, the thumbnail is the image of the video that they're about to click on. So it's making it as clickbaity as possible. And I'll talk about clickbait in a moment as well, because it's really important. Then what I also noticed is what I didn't like about the niche that I'm in. So obviously I'm in property, and either you've got a selection of it. There, by the way, some great people on there as well, but a lot of them, they're people chatting shit left, right, and center. It's pretty obvious that they don't know what they're talking about. And a good idea of how you can call people out of not knowing it is they can't explain it to a 5-year-old. You know, their way of explaining it is complex. You can see them looking at bloody screen every 5 minutes because they're needing to. That, or I just didn't like their personality at all, if I'm completely honest. Or their information was very samey, and so it's the same every day, and so their channel barely built up at all, even though they've got a great following at the moment. Or they're just trying to sell. So that gave me a really good idea of what to do, what not to do, what I liked and what I didn't like. And the reason why it's important to like it a certain extent, even though it's none of my business, it's my customers, right? Is I knew that I was starting this with a 5 to 10 year aim of building my brand, not, all right, yeah, the ego of getting 1,000 subscribers, which is really difficult to do, get that first 1,000. But it was all 5 to 10 year brand building. So I needed to be able to say, I'm going to enjoy doing these videos. I see way too many people, and the first thing they do is, how much does a YouTuber make? Which I'm happy to talk about as well, but it's like that shouldn't be the first thing. That's a byproduct. You need to create the habits that create the results in everything in business. So then when I went through it, I was like, okay, so I know I've got a 5 to 10 year, and I've fortunate enough to got some money behind me already, so I could hire somebody, to take a lot of the element away of that I'm not going to enjoy. I get not everyone's there. Then I looked into stages of equipment. So, the first stage being the iPhone and bloody shitty light. And then it's thinking about, okay, I want a smart board, the Samsung Flip that I use on the videos, then the better equipment, then the high grade equipment, and giving myself targets to hit, and then having those as rewards as I'm going through. And then what I did is I had my first 20 videos, which my strategy for everyone starting is how to do this, and keeping it as basic as possible. So my most successful video was maybe 300,000 views, is buy-to-let basics. The reason to keep it broad like that, or simple like that, is because it's broad. It's going to appeal to a wider audience. And then once you've built the momentum in the channel, you can start niching it down a bit. So hopefully that's a bit of insight.
Massive insight. I just know that people watching this, even within my community, I know that when they're going to watch this tonight when it goes live, people will be making notes. So I promise everything you say is going to be hugely valuable to people watching. I mean, even to me, I'm sitting here on pen and paper. We're going to touch on a few things that you said just during that, thumbnails, so forth. Something that definitely I've got to look into more in terms of thumbnails. So just touching on kind of the next stage is equipment. People stress out a lot. I've even had it in a small YouTube group that I run, is what equipment do I buy? Do I go for the full high-tech stuff? And there is an element, isn't there, just getting started on the phone. But one thing I have learned is something that's really important is audio. I think that's really, really key. Kind of what would be your tips to anyone that is launching a YouTube at the moment on equipment? Just, are there any things you could recommend right now? Or is it audio? Is it visual camera?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, it's visual and audio, because there's nothing worse than watching a video that is all broken, and then the video where it's like that, and the sound comes a bit off. It's like, Jesus, like, even if it's amazing content, it's not going to be there. So the lighting can be rubbish. The setting can be rubbish. I mean, right now we're filming this, I'm in a hotel room. It's a shit backdrop, right? Not ideal, but it's absolutely fine. The internet quality is good. The video is decent, and the sound's pretty decent. So, it's important to have those two things. So in general, I mean, I've actually got it. Let me see if I've got it. So I've got a Sennheiser time mic. It's not wireless. I don't do wireless stuff because it's just asking for something to go wrong. Connects to the camera. I think it was like 60 quid. Then you can get a good camera. If you've got like an iPhone 12, they are insane, like absolutely insane quality. Always with that side of your camera. A big mistake people make is trying to do it selfie. Number one, you don't look into the camera, you end up looking at yourself and you see like yourself going like that, whereas you want to look dead into the camera. Also, the quality is completely different. So you can get a mic that connects to your iPhone 12. If you've got a crap phone without it, then buy one. We've got fairly expensive cameras now. We've got GH5s, which are about 1,200 quid each camera, but you can get like a Sony E5, which is maybe like £400, and they are brilliant, really good. So yeah, if for £500 budget, you can get very good kit. But yeah, it's very much the visual and auditory. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, even now, like, you know, running off the Mac, this can run high def. I've got my EOS, for anyone that wants to know, I've got an EOS Canon Mark II running, and then, yeah, the Rode Pro Mic Plus. Audio, like you said, doesn't even have to be the lighting that great or the quality, but as long as your content and the audio is great, people still tune in, because they might be driving, right, and just listening to you, and as long as it's crisp and clear. Top stuff. Now, big question, do you niche or do you not niche? Because I found that channels that niche grow very quickly, but as soon as they want to change conversation a year, 2 years down the line, the audience is like, whoa. Or do you keep it broad?
Absolutely niche. Absolutely niche, without a doubt. So I struggle with this because I like talking about mindset. I like talking about trading every now and then, like all of these things. And that's a conversation in my head. Do I bring that into this channel, or do I create a second channel? And I need to really, I'm not going to rush any decisions. The reason to go niche is you need to ask yourself, same as Instagram, same as everything, why is somebody subscribing to you? Okay, why? And I've got a friend, I won't mention name, he's got over 100,000 subscribers. I would not want his channel at all. Because his actual content, 100 views, 200 views. You might even know who I'm talking about, but I don't want to say names because he is a friend. But when he interviews somebody, 500,000 views. So he's an interview channel, but nobody's going there to listen to him anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's really key. Like, I'm very clear when people come to my channels, it's to listen to me. And I don't mean that from an ego perspective, although I'm sure that's there as well. I mean, from a business perspective, I am there to be positioned as an expert and somebody that they want to work with. That's not going to happen if I get loads of interviews on. So again, I do want to interview. I've interviewed Grant Cardone, David Goggins, but I definitely will have a separate channel for that. And it'll be on there. The problem isn't that they change the narrative down the line. It's they change it too quick. Okay. So what they do is they'll get to their 100,000 subscribers in what they do. They are known for it. They're regularly getting 5, 10, 15, 20,000. They'll have the odd video that pops to 100,000, whatever. That's a great YouTube channel. That's consistent. It's reliable. It's stable. And then suddenly they'll start talking about something completely different. Whereas let's say I'm property, very much property focused, but I'll still drop in the odd mindset video. And then, by the way, if you want more of that on the channel, just put mindset in the comments below. You know, and that my regulars will start coming from mindset. And then I'll start doing one a month of those. By the way, if you want more of these, say it's mindset I want to talk about, then I'll start doing 2 a month. And I'll build it up to 50-50 property and mindset over a 6 to 12 month period. Yeah. And now I'm attracting people that want to think about mindset. A really great example of who's done this, 2 examples, is Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins' business partner. He was pure property, pure real estate out in America. Now he's mindset. He's about pure mindset, but he started in his niche and did that. Grant Cardone is another one. Now, I feel he's lost his touch a little bit on his channel, but the point is he really did that well, where it was property, real estate channel on TV for real estate. And now, yeah, he's talking about real estate, but he's just obsessed with money, growing. Same as Gary Vaynerchuk, you know, very niched wine. Like his channel was Wine Library or Wine TV, whatever it was. Now, he just regurgitates the same stuff over and over about social media. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely narrow and deep, and then broaden it out.
I think this is going to be one of the points that a lot of people needed to hear. And even listening to you now, I'm now changing my next 2 videos. So I almost needed to hear that as well, because that's something for me personally, and this is conversations I have all the time. Do I niche? Do I keep it broad? I've stayed broad, and I've felt the effects of that of slow growth. But that's because I've enjoyed talking about the things that I talk about. However, my biggest takeaway is now I'm going to niche a little bit more, and I kind of knew it. I just needed to hear it again. And actually, I know other YouTubers who have bigger YouTuber coaches that have said niche. So amazing point. Now, this is something I took away from you the last time we spoke, when we touched on the back end of YouTube, is your posting schedule. As soon as we got off, I went to 3 times minimum a week. Has that stayed the same for you? Because I know others have adopted that, and I have really found that 3 times a week is that growth stage.
Yeah, so I've actually had if you go on right now, the last month, I've taken a break on there. But yeah, consistently 3 times a week, and that is what I am consistently going to commit to. But I've also said to myself, so I struggled with mental health coming back. I was away in January on the mountain, and I struggled since being back with some bits that happened on the mountain and stuff that, so I took a bit of a break. So I'm also saying to myself that YouTube is not my life, but it's 3 videos a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Friday is consistently the worst day. Wednesday is consistently the best day. So I'm going to play around with Friday. Maybe it's Saturday, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to test that one. But that's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because Wednesday, you better believe, if I've got a video where I think it's going to pop, I'm putting it out on Wednesday. And if there's one where I'm like, we'll see, I'll probably end up putting it on Friday. But yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I'll test. Genuinely, one thing I might test is Monday, Wednesday, and Wednesday. And I might pop one out on Wednesday at 12 o'clock and one at 5 o'clock and see how that does. But it's all a test. But yeah, 3 a week, 100%.
Yeah, amazing points. Listen up, people, because I made a note here. Data. I know you obviously you're big on your data, and that kind of, the analysis behind it is that a lot of people as well, if you are starting a YouTube, I mean, you have to look at this as a business, don't you? This is, CEO, editor, marketing, data, reviewing, testing. And one thing I'll ask you is that I tend to do Mondays, Thursdays or Sundays. Obviously, I don't tend to do the Fridays or Saturdays, because I might as well put out the video and just watch it myself. But is that Sundays, obviously, you kind of time that posting, isn't it? When most people are at home, they're not going to be going out. A lot of people reflect on a Monday, don't they? First day at work, I hate my job. Well, what new job can I get? So is that something, how deep do you look into the data of when you post?
Oh, a huge amount. So, at the start, I did my research on finding it, but like Wednesdays are consistently across the world, the Western world, the best times. And the reason for that, I think, is Wednesday slump day, isn't it? Everyone's like, and then I know the most popular times are around 5:30. So I always post, usually, I think it's 3 o'clock I post. And the reason I do it before is it gives Google, who owns YouTube, time to attach all of the backlinks and stuff, which is a computer doing it, obviously, but it takes a bit of time. So I want that to be warmed up a little bit, and then the main audience hit it. So then it goes across Google and stuff like that as well. So always an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours before your main viewing times. And then it's data, and data is incredibly important. I did a load of research, but then it's only based on your stuff. So YouTube, when you've got an audience, will tell you the most common times that your audience are on. And then I go an hour or 2 before that. And that might change over time, and you need to be willing to change. And data, it's that whole, if you can't improve what you don't measure, so you need to be improving it based on the measurements, but also try not to measure too soon. I think a lot of people gather data for a week and then go, all right, amazing. Personally, I do it once a quarter. Don't change anything for once a quarter. Collect as much data as possible, click-through rates, retention on videos, what ones made you the most money, what ones got the best clicks, why, what was the title, what was the thing, commonalities in the thumbnail, but also the times as well. What was consistently the same, the best performing video based on timings, because that will be fairly consistent and you'll notice pattern. And then, as frustrating as it is, change one thing and then measure that for 3 months and carry on. And that is, you mentioned slow growth. I like slow growth. It's just people have different methods of slow growth. You know, slow growth for me is 50 to 100 subscribers a day now, which annoys me because I want to break through to 500 a day. And I've had a couple of days like that where I've had 500 in a day, but not consistently. So, but it's working it out. And if you've genuinely got this mindset, like I do, 5 to 10 years to build a brand, then you're not going to worry month to month. It's hitting that consistently. So quarterly data scraping and then refocus from that.
Yeah, I think people need to hear what you're saying because it's the right way to think of it. No, the problem is we live in a world where it's just like instant, isn't it? It's like if you don't get it tomorrow, oh, bugger that, I'm going on to something else. So everyone wants it now. No one's willing to do the slow and steady, which obviously you are, I am, I know other people are. This is something where, this is a question not only for me, but something that again comes up a lot is, I've even got my teleprompter sitting there to the side. I've used it once. The glide gear cost me like 180 quid. Do you go organic? How do you do it? Do you take a few notes and then just memorize it, or are you scripted?
Oh no, so I'm never script. I'm awful with it. Even when I'm doing presentations, like I hate having slides. I'd rather go on for 3 hours and have 10 bullet points and then just talk. But that's not how people learn, right? So the way that I do it is we brainstorm titles. Like generic titles, could be based on research, could be seeing other people's videos have done well, model on that. And those titles, I'll then go, let's have a think about this. Where should it be? Is it in a property? Is it in front of the the smartboard that I have? Is it sat at desk? Like if it's a bit more personal talk, I'll do it sat down rather than me stood up. Is it with the screen, without the screen? And then I'll usually write the opener. So the first line, because that's what's going to hook people. And then I'll write 3 to 5 bullet points of what I want to discuss. And then the closing line, stuff like that. And then I'll write, if I need to do some research into it, because sometimes you need to do research. You should, especially with stats ones. I want to make sure those stats are accurate because there's always going to be some knob in there that goes, actually, I think it's 12.6, not 12.7, and I always try to go, by the way, at the time of filming this video, these stats are true. So I'll do that. And then that's it. So I'll usually have the screen open, usually my iPad with 3 to 5 bullet points. And I'll read the first line. I'll go, do the first line. I'll read the first bullet point, and then I'll start the first bullet point. And the thing to remember when you are filming and you become a better performer over time is finish your point, then look down. Good. Then look, and then do it. The worst thing that you see, and I'm guilty for it too, but I've got a lot better, is saying something and then going like that. And then the second point is, it's like that will come out in the edit. The problem with doing that is that's hard to edit. Whereas finishing my point and then picking your nose or whatever you want to do after is fine. But you need to have those pauses because in the edit, that's going to make their life a lot easier as well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've actually got into the habit now of writing down pause after the bullet points so that I know when to just stop for a second, like you say, and then you can do that transition. So great points there. Now, for everyone watching, stick around because now I suppose we're going to start getting into a little bit more of the juicy part where people are like, the money behind it, the revenue, I'm sure we're not going to go into the exact amount that you're earning and everything like that, but I certainly would like to touch on to give people not only a bit of inspiration, because it certainly does do that to the right people, but just before we get on to sort of the revenue of what your YouTube is producing, is that for anyone watching this, YouTube is a business, right? It is something that you can earn very good money from, but you have to structure it as a business. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, people, even directly from YouTube, which isn't my main focus, and I'm more than happy to break down as accurate numbers as you want, really. But yeah, like people have quit their jobs just on YouTube. Even directly from what YouTube pays me now, that's more than most people's salary, I would say. And then you've got people coming across as sponsors to you. And then you've got the indirect revenue. So that's where the real money is, the indirect revenue. If you've already got a service to provide, you can absolutely kill it. Absolutely kill it. But yeah, it's like everything. You have to treat it like a business because it's not a hobby. I do enjoy it. I love it. And that's probably why I do so many videos and keep up with it. But it is a business. There is a strategy behind it. We have vision meetings in my office about YouTube. What outputs are we looking at? What are we targeting? Both the ego metrics from subscriber point of view. And then once we get that 100K subscribers, which we will get, and we get the little silver plaque, how are we going to market that? How are we going to use that? How are we going to bring more leads in because of that? You know, it's a strategy. It's a business all the time. And if you're not thinking like that, that's cool. But why are you even here? You know, if you just want to make videos, go make videos. You know, but if you're treating this like a money-making machine, which it can be, then yeah. And it needs to be key because the way that this is different as well from Instagram, Facebook, is it's not social media, it's media. So I teach something called the ACE method, which is awareness, communication, extraction, which is how you actually get them into leads, right? But YouTube is an awareness channel. It's a search engine, the second biggest one after Google, right? So that's what makes it amazing. If I stop all social media, all YouTube as well, for the next year, we will chat next year. And if I do 12 months, I'll still have 80,000 subscribers, you know, 20,000 more, maybe that 100K mark, who knows? I still get about 4 months worth every single day, and it will carry on climbing and carry on climbing. But Facebook would die, Instagram would die. Nobody's going on Instagram and scrolling through my post from 3 months ago. That buy-to-let video still gets 500 views a day, and it was posted 14 months ago.
That's crazy.
That's the power of YouTube, making people aware of who you are in the first place.
Yeah, strategy and structure and having a real purpose behind it, which is going to lead us on nicely to, if you are happy, then Jamie, just to give that bit of inspiration where people can see the reality behind it. What kind of revenue is YouTube doing? You know, what's your best video? What's it producing for you?
The best one, I'll look for you, so I'll give you some accuracy, and then you can just edit out the gap if you want. The best video is Buy-to-Let Basics, and that one was posted November 2020, and I still get paid about £400 a month from that one video. In total, that one video has paid me £5,505 so far. And then in general, from the channel directly from YouTube paying me is about £3,000 a month. So about £100 a day.
Yeah, that's insane. Then, like you say, that's someone's salary. And the funny thing is, really, you've only just got started. And this is the crazy thing. You know, we're talking that's 3,000 a month, and you're only doubling down. And the thing is, the compound effect. And like you said, this isn't even the income indirectly. So, you know, just remember, for everyone that's watching this right now, just remember that's solely YouTube. So that's not the additional business that you're getting, the credibility that this is doing to you and your business, which brings more business, sponsorship, stuff like that. So the compound effect could be absolutely insane. And like I say, you're only getting started.
Yeah. It's over $1 million a year now. So if you go, sponsorships are a minor part of it at the moment, but I'm going to leverage that. Like at the moment, my two sponsors are Lendlord and Property Data. And the reason why I like those is I use them all the time. So like I'm never going to be sponsored by something I don't use. And I've been offered some mad level sponsorships, but I don't use them. I don't like them. So I'm not going to recommend. And that's really key to have your integrity, because if you're thinking that 5 to 10 year, only recommend stuff you use regularly. But, you know, I'll probably make another $1,000 a month from them at the moment. But my play with sponsorships is I want to give as much value as cheap as possible to them. And then I'm going to ask for a piece of the pie down the line. You know, I want 10% of the business, but I'll be your face of the business and push that brand. That's another thing. Brand gives you that power to represent people. And then indirectly, you know, if you watch my videos, I build portfolios for people. So APG is one of my companies, Aspire Property Group. Obviously, I've got the education, and it all in that indirect revenue is over $1 million alone per year. And obviously, it's pretty much profit as well. So yeah, it's big. Over $100,000 a month now will be made from YouTube.
It's insane. you know, as someone who's trying to grow his YouTube as well, you know, it's huge inspiration for me as well. So there's so much possibility. So, you know, as we sort of come to a close, you know, for anyone that's watched this far, is that it's about taking massive action. Again, talking about something you really enjoy, niching, sticking with it, routine, structure, viewing it as a business. And, you know, there's so many case studies out there. You can go and see what people are earning. You know, Jamie's just given it firsthand there, but huge potential, and also what it can do for your business is insane. Jamie, absolute pleasure for having you on for a third time, mate. If people do want to reach out, even know about your business, get in touch, do work with you, whatever it might be, where can they best go?
If people are wanting to chat directly, Instagram is probably the best place. Trying to direct everyone there for chatting right now. So it's Jamie York Aspire, Aspire. And then, you can just follow me on there, DM me and have a chat.
Awesome. Well, the links will be in the description below. Mate, I'd love to get you in the London office at some point and get you on actually face to face when you've got time. Everyone who's watched so far, thank you so much. And we will see you all very soon.